Hi there everyone, and welcome to the amazing Fairy Garden and the I Am Empowered movement. I'm here with the beautiful Dan.
Hi guys.
We're here today to talk to you about something really special and close to my heart. We're here to talk to you with the amazing Micheal Walsh, aka the Positivity Power Princess Callie. She's an amazing person who has come up with the most amazing co-creative book, and she has come up with the most powerful co-creative book called The Transformative Power of Near-Death Experiences and How They Positively Impact the World. Now Callie, we did the interview with her when she was in the UK because she lives there, so thank you to the power of technology, we could bring the interview to you in the Fairy Garden. Now, just before Callie spoke, I spoke about how much I adore and love Callie as a person and her personality. So Callie is an incredibly honest and honourable person who her passion just drives her creative forces, and she is just the most awe-inspiring person to know. She brings people together like no other person that I've ever met. And when she came to me 3 years ago about this amazing book, I could not help but fall in love with the idea and fall in love with her. So we would like to bring you this beautiful interview of heartfelt chat that we've had with Callie last week about the transformative power of near-death experiences and how they impact the world. And this is what she had to say about how the journey began.
Oh, well, thank you for that beautiful introduction. It's made me feel quite emotional, but you know the feeling's mutual. I love and adore you too, and it's all about, I'm going to start crying. It's just about beautiful souls aligning, as you know. When I had my near-death experience in 2009, those are the words that I shouted out following the experience, that like-minded souls will collaborate to change the world, and that's why we're working together. So, okay, so start at the beginning. So sort of why I had the near-death experience in the first place, because that's really where all this started. Like a lot of children, I grew up with deep-rooted emotional issues, which affected my ability to truly love and accept myself. Outwardly, I would appear happy, but inwardly at times I was, dying. And this manifested in later life in an eating disorder when I was around 16, 17. Then dabbled, and I said dabbled, I used to take recreational drugs, and it wasn't really for the party scene for me, it was really because I didn't feel like I fit in. So it was really just a way of getting blitzed and sort of, I guess just, out of it to sort of forget. And then in my 20s, I suffered from, don't get wrong, my natural disposition is a sunshiny person, but interspersed during this time, I had periods of severe fight or flight anxiety. I mean, I can't even, people talk about depression, and I have had times of depression, but to me, for me personally, that was easy to deal with, because at least the tears were coming and I could sleep. When the severe fight or flight anxiety used to kick in, my body would shut down. I couldn't sleep for weeks at a time. It literally felt like torture. I could go 12 weeks without sleeping. And my only respite was sleeping pills. But obviously they're highly addictive, so thankfully the doctor wouldn't give me many. But that used to be my respite for perhaps a couple of days every 12 weeks, just knock myself out. Anyway, and I realised on reflection I was constantly battling. I was battling the healing that needed to take place, but I had nothing to anchor that to. Then at the age of 33, a sequence of events happened, and I gave up. I lost hope. And I took a huge overdose, in excess of 20,000 milligrams of paracetamol, and said that's it, I want out of here, and tried to end my physical life. I won't go into all the details of the near-death experience, because obviously I'll leave that for the book. I had 3 days later I ended up in hospital, so it was far too late to pump my stomach. With paracetamol-based products you need to do it quickly. But in hospital I had a profound experience that's completely changed my life. just to give a bit, one of the things that happened, which is so significant to the book, is when I ended up in hospital, prior to the actual near-death experience, a lady appeared who looked like a nurse by all intents and purposes. I'll never forget her. She was beautiful, blonde hair, dressed as a nurse. Maybe she was a nurse, maybe she wasn't, but she had a message for me. And she touched me on the arm, just like this, and she said, when you get out of here, read the book Conversations with God by Neale Donald Walsch. And then she vanished. And at the time, I didn't really take it on board at the time because I was in such a fearful state. I was, I'd come from a religious background as a child. I'd done the cardinal sin. I was going to go, into hell. Not that I believe hell exists now. Hell is to me a state of mind, and at that present time, I was already living in hell. Now I live in heaven. Now I've created my heaven. But anyhow, I had this experience, which, as I said, I'll leave that for the book and for people to read. But when I came round from the experience, my arms were across my chest, and they were like this. And as I came round on the 9th of October, my arms, as I awoke in the hospital bed, I woke like this. My ex-mother-in-law was there at the time, who I'm really close to. We're still really good friends, and I shouted out, "I've met God and I've met angels," and I did. And some people will doubt me, and that's okay. I'm not here to prove or disprove. That's what happened. And I, week later. What I should mention is I actually got a strong vision the following evening of the world changing, and I shouted out, like-minded souls are going to collaborate to change the world. And obviously I wasn't taken seriously at the time. I have to hasten to add, I was on a psychiatric ward, so I was probably written off as insane. And and that's really the starting point of this journey. I walked out of hospital a week later, fully healed. I mean, physically healed, with no damage, liver, kidney, etc., which is fairly miraculous.
Amazing.
But that wasn't, that was really the beginning. I then suppressed the experience for 2 years. I never spoke about it because I got back into normal life, shall we say. And how do you, I had a lot of healing to do. I realise now that, as we know, everything happens in the perfect divine timing of when it's meant to happen. And I've been on that healing journey back to the love that I experienced in the spirit for the past 8 years in November. And that's why the book isn't coming out till now, because I wasn't strong. The first thing to heal was my body. The second thing that healed in my journey was my spiritual side. And when I say spiritual side, I believe we're all spiritual beings having an earthly experience. But I mean, to the point where I got anchored in my own belief rather than what I would class as some fear-based teachings. I got centered with my own spirituality that I felt fully anchored in. That was the second thing that healed for me. And really that related to the experience. I got back anchored into what I'd experienced. That whether you call it God, whether you call it a fairy, to me it's God, but it doesn't really matter what name you give to it. What I experienced, if I can say anything more than anything, is that we're all one, we're all connected. It sounds like such a simple thing to say, but we are. And that God, creator, universe, whatever, loves us all, every single one of us, and including murderers, rapists, and God knows what else, loves us all unconditionally. And that is what I experienced, love unconditionally. And and that's what I got anchored into, that remembrance, because remembrance of that, regardless of our colour, our creed, our gender, our sexuality, or any other differences, we are loved. And that was the next thing for me, to stand into that and stay true to that. And then the third thing really was my mental and emotional, and that's took longer to heal. And And then, as you mentioned, Kat, it was 3 years ago, which has blown my head. But really, how that came about, which was the main question, and I've got off on tangent like I often do. Those words, like-minded souls will collaborate to change the world, never left me. And they were the words that when even though I suppressed it, they were there. It was like, I can't explain. It's like in me, And a few years after my experience, I went on a personal development training course, and we got chatting about children, and we got chatting about the world and the negativity in the world and the impact it's having on children. And obviously I resonated with it because of my own life journey. And something inside of me then said, you're going to do something for children. I didn't fully know what it looked like at that point, but it was one day I was going to do something big with other like-minded souls for children. And at that point, it's interesting because my alter ego, Positivity Princess, it came about. That was on that day, really. But I realise now, I didn't realise it at the time, but it's representative of what I experienced, that in God's eyes, we're all her children, and we're all. The reason I said prince and princesses is because there's no hierarchy. So in the, to me, creator is, I'd say creator is the king and queen combined, because I don't see God as a he or a she. It's a combination to me. So creator God is the king, the crown, and we, all of us on planet Earth, are her children. We're his prince and princesses. And that's not, in cultural, on the earth, we look at royalty as, royal family, and we're, the earth, what do we call it? We're they're the hierarchy, and we're sort of, the generals. And actually, no, whether you're the King of England or you're Kelly from Bolton originally, it's irrelevant. We're all totally equal. So that's the next thing. And so that's really where the character Positivity Princess from Planet Positivia came from, because it's actually been inspired by my experience. So she comes from where I went to. And that's really the starting point of this development. And as you know, Kat, you've been a wonderful friend, and we've had many times where I've cried and I've sat with you and I'm like, how are we going to do this? I've no budget, I can't do it, I'm not earning. But you always said to me, have trust, have faith, and I've stepped wholeheartedly into that now, and I'm fully, surrendering, and the magic is happening. And so going back to the book, I eventually couldn't suppress it any longer. A number of events happened, which are all in the book, which you can read about, and I got divinely guided to Dr. Penny Sartori, and once we spoke, it was so cathartic to me, so healing. Somebody finally said, it's not crazy what you're saying, and she sort of explained. I shared the experience, she relayed back to me that's that. Anyway, I'd always felt, as I said, those words, like-minded souls, so I literally, I just felt that, the real power isn't about my story. Yes, my story is powerful, but individually it's not powerful. The real power to me is when we share stories as a collective.
Yeah, I agree.
That's where the real power lies. And so I approached Dr. Penny with the concept. Obviously, then, magically people appeared who were aligned with the project, and that's really how the journey started. And I just thought, well, even though I've not got funds at the moment to create the bigger picture, which is happening and will happen, but I can do something. And the first thing I can do with like-minded souls is write a beautiful book with powerful impact, with a beautiful message, but actually use that book to create funds, which is the starting point of the bigger picture to help children. Because to me, the change on the planet is going to come from the children. To me, they are our future, and it's down to us to ensure all children come into the world as beautiful, sparks of divine love. And it's for us to help them to grow up with healthy, happy minds, and become, loving, caring, sharing, positivity prince and princesses who, no longer are divided, and who unite through love. So that's where it came from.
Excellent.
And,
Thank you. I find Kelly's story so amazing, and I think there's something in that for everybody. It's such a powerful thing for her to share. I think for many of us, we've had those challenges in our world where we found ourselves at our lowest point.
Yeah.
And how from that point where you're really low, you can have those experiences and find those messages that really change your world. So I'm so grateful that she was able to share that with us, because I think it's such a powerful message.
I agree. All of the stories in the book, they're so profound and so powerful, and they've all come from this moment, from a human experience that everyone in the book has taken it to a level of positivity, so as humanity and consciousness can see how we can empower ourselves even when things are stacked against us, or we're going through a crisis or something that we did not expect in our world, something we've brought into our world that we didn't know was going to happen. All these people in the book have just inspired me so much, so I think it's amazing. So thank you, Callie, for bringing this book into consciousness. I know you guys are going to love it as much as we do.
Can't wait to get my hands on a copy.
It's amazing. So thank you, Callie, for that. Welcome back, everyone. And this next segment that we spoke to Callie, we actually wanted her to explain about this amazing synchronicities that occurred following the start of this book in her life, and how all these synchronicities just started flowing through all our lives. One of the most amazing synchronicities that came through was the connection and the synchronicity between Callie and Neale Donald Walsch. Now, he's a legendary, inspiring, amazing author that wrote the books Conversations with God. There's a series that he wrote, and they are palpable. They change the way you look at who we are. And the fact that Callie and Neale had such a powerful bond and synchronicity between each other that they weren't even aware of at the very start is amazing. So Callie shares in this next segment how phenomenal and how palpable that coming together of this amazing project, and to have Neale Donald Walsch in our book co-creating with us is an honour. And here is what Callie shared with us.
Well, it has. It's been as you know, it's been a journey and a half. And as you know, right at the beginning, it was always a dream to have Neale Donald Walsch endorse the book at least. So just to give it, as you know, came into my life that book when I was in the hospital. There's so many synchronicities, it's uncanny. So like 6 months after my near-death experience, I met my soulmate. He happens to be called Neale. And my surname is Walsh. So between us both, we have Neale and we haven't got Donald, but we're definitely Neale and Walsh. That's quite funny. And then really, I approached Dr. Penny. We started work on this book in the concept of it, shall we say, in early 2015. So 15, 16, yes, that's 3 years. So yeah, it was early 2015. Gosh, so that's when I learned. We started this original process, but unfortunately that year, as you know, I had really tough. We started the project, but then in between all that, my family life fell apart. Without going into all the detail, and unfortunately, my dear dad, who's very much with me, I will say, took his own life. So really, the whole project, went by the wayside. Anyway, in the following year, in the 2016, I had what I would class as a dark night of the soul, and I spent 3 months crying, which I'm sure I spent time on the phone to you during that time, Kat.
Yeah.
I just literally was saying to God, I am not doing this work for you anymore. I've been through enough. I am not doing it. And I literally was. I was like ranting like a child. I'm not doing it. But God had other plans, and a sequence of events happened where eventually I ended up speaking to Dr. Penny, and I said, right, come on, it's time. She said, well, funny enough, Watkins had been in contact the week before and said, what's happening? We're really interested in this concept, but we need the proposal. So we got on with doing the proposal. But that day I turned on my laptop and my little puppy, who's thankfully gone quiet, ran across my laptop, and she happens to have been born on the anniversary of my near-death experience. She was definitely a gift from the heavens. And she ran across my laptop, and I mean, it just flabbergasted the stuff that happens, but literally Google was on my laptop and it popped up a website and it said God's new message to the world, and it froze on my laptop. So really, you know, it was like, okay, I'm listening. And so, yeah, so as you know, we spent that year putting the book together, which took a long time. We got all the stories and edited it and everything else, and it got, as you said, to the endorsement. Basically what happened, I went down to London to meet the publisher, and we got chatting, and I was telling Micheal about the story and the journey and about Neale Donald Walsch. And he turned around and he said, yeah, Neil, we're publishing his next book. Oh, I mean, they weren't the main publisher, but they were the UK counterpart. I thought, wow, perfect. So when we got round to it, so we basically, I said to Micheal, Luke, can we reach out? And we did do, and there seemed to be, or it didn't appear to be, a response. I had a connection through Humanities Team, which is his charitable organisation. So I reached out to one of my contacts within Humanities Team, and I knew he'd had a triple heart bypass operation, so I was very aware that he might not be able to. But interestingly, the day that I said on Facebook, I've reached out to Mr. Walsh.The, Conversations with God, to write for our book. On my timeline next morning, the first thing at the top of Facebook was a quote by Neale Donald Walsch saying, when the universe is essentially a friendly place, it gives you what you expect. And think, wow, I've said it, and then I've got the answer. So I really was expecting, there was no, in my mind, Neale Donald Walsch was doing. So when I approached, I sent all the synchronicities, because there was that many, it was ridiculous. And anyway, I got an email back saying, unfortunately, Neale Donald Walsch is not in a position at this time, which I remember it. I wasn't upset with Neale, but I was flabbergasted, because there's been so many divine guidance that this is going to happen, that I just couldn't comprehend it. So anyway, divinely, another gentleman wrote for us, and he wrote the actual forward. He wrote it and called it a love letter to God. So Mick Collins, beautiful guy, was meant to write the forward. Anyway, about 6 weeks later, I got invited to an event called The Awakening. So I went to the Awakening event and walked in, and Neale Donald Walsch's book, Conversations with God, book 4 was there, because Watkins happened to have a stall. So I bought the book, so excited. I rushed home, as I always do with Neil's work, reading it, read it in 2 days. And there was a page in the book, and I read the words, and I couldn't believe what I was reading. It was literally word for word what I'd written in that chapter. So I ended up taking a picture of it, and I sent it to Dr. Penny, and I said, wow, Penny, look at this. It's more or less word for word. Anyway, on the Monday morning, and you'll laugh, I mean, you'll relate to this, Kat, I was having one of my human moments, shall we say. And I just sat there, and I said, God and angels, I really could do with a big knock on the head. Give me one of the signs that you do give me, just to put me on track when I'm having a wobble, which I have many. And literally, it was within a minute, there's an email in the inbox from Neale Donald Walsch via Watkins. And the most profound thing is, it said, and in fact, you know what, I am going to read this because it's really powerful, and because I want to read it word for word, because to me, if this is not God in action, I really, one second. The email arrived.
Sure.
Bearing in mind, as far as we're concerned, Neil's not involved. I'd had confirmation. However, in my heart and soul, I couldn't. It was unbelievable. Anyway, it says, it can be no coincidence that I received an electronic copy of the manuscript you are now reading when I did. it was forwarded to me by my literary agent in the US, who received a request from Watkins Publishing in London to send it on to me. Basically, what he then goes on to say is that he read it in 4 sittings over 2 days at the exact time that his book, Conversations with God, book 4, arrived. His copy arrived with him. But what's interesting is his copy arrived on the same day that I just bought his copy, and so he's received his copy at the same time I bought his copy.
Hello.
At the same time he's received our manuscript. And what he's actually put is, this is the bit that just floored me. He says, I could not miss the connection of it appearing in my hands at the very moment that my reading 9 words so from Kelly and Penny's book had been vibrating in my centre. What 9 words am I talking about? Like-minded souls would collaborate to change the world.
Yeah.
And you know what? I am an excitable bunny, and I remember just jumping up, skipping, trying to do backflips, and ringing up Penny, screaming down the phone, and then basically offering any support he could give, offering, he'll write us a forward and afterward whatever we require. And then a day later, got another email saying, would Kelly and Penny consider sharing my own personal out-of-body experience in your book? Yeah, pretty wild. Do you know another thing I will tell you? This is and again I'll talk about his quote on the front. It's the most powerful quote, and this applies to every single person on the planet. I guess most people, not myself and you and others, but there's a lot of people who have a fear of dying, and they don't need to be, because we never die.
Correct.
If anything, this book, I'll read the quote that Neale has,
yes,
and it's very, very powerful. This book will do more to release humanity from its fear of dying than any other book in recent memory. And that's powerful. Because I think once we learn to not fear death, we learn how to truly live. And so yeah, that's that. And but another thing I have to share, because it makes me giggle, is that the publisher had originally put another person's quote on the front of the book, and they'd done it because they felt that this person at the moment they had more sales than it's all done on sales and whatever else. And I took on board what they said, but my heart was saying, and Penny's, that no, it's Neale's quote that needs to be on the front. And I said, can you give me 24 hours to think about it? I really need 24 hours. And me and Penny spoke about it. We both intuitively felt it should be Neale's quote, but we also took on board their advice. And honestly, I swear, I went to bed that night and I woke up next day, and the first thing on my timeline at the top of the page on Facebook, and I took a picture of it, was a year ago to the day I'd been reading Neale Donald Walsch's book, When God Steps In, Miracles Happen. And I took a picture of the book and I posted it, and next morning when I had to make the decision to tell the publisher what was at the top of my timeline. And I was like, yes! And I actually rang Jo, God bless her, at Watkins, and I said, listen, I don't know whether you believe in this shit or not, but I'm telling you, this is what's happened. And she was like, right, okay.
Love it.
There we go. So yeah, so we're very honoured, and Neale obviously supports us, but not just that. We've got Anita Majani, who's one of the most famous NDE experiencers in the world. We've got Dr. Evan Alexander, and we've got another 25-30 beautiful, incredible, amazing endorsements. And the reality is, I think out of maybe 40 emails, and I know you got a couple as well, Kat, that went out, I think we only got a no from about 3 people. And even those who said no came back with a beautiful, email response. And actually, to be fair, Watkins like, Kelly, enough is enough. We can't put any more into the book. What point do we stop? So, but yeah, and so yeah, magical, and it's a world change. It's a world changing book, and there's the love that flows through it. There's people in the book that represent creed, culture, faith, everything. there's some really powerful stories. I mean, they're all beautiful, they're all powerful in their own unique way. And you know, we touch on suicide, we touch on transgender, we touch on HIV and AIDS. You know, there's some really powerful stories. So, but the one thing we all, regardless of our life experience, you know, we're all coming back, as it says on the back of the book, that the fundamental message behind every near-death experience is of love, peace, and compassion for others. Their transformational power transcends cultures, faith, and creeds. It's a message we can all benefit from without having close to, well, it says death, but I would say close to transition.
Yes.
You know, we don't need to go home to understand this.
Yes.
And I have a real belief, and I'll say it because it's something I believe in wholeheartedly. As I said before, I was living in hell at a time in my life.
Yeah.
But what I will say now is that I know, without a shadow of a doubt, that at a soul level, we're all love. Every single one of us.
Yeah.
And the day that we see each other as a reflection of who we really are, which is a reflection of divinity, is the day that we release all man-made fear, because it is man-made. We rejoice in the reality that heaven is actually here. We can create heaven.
Yeah.
And on that day, and I believe it will happen, not necessarily in this lifetime for me, but when we do that and we actually see each other as a reflection of the divine, we see beyond culture and creed and sexuality and all those other things. That is the day we create peace on earth.
Agree.
I think it's amazing, all of those positive experiences that came through as Kelly really started to trust and her own inner voice and to look for that positive message that came through in her everyday world. And I think that's such a powerful tool that we can all start to use more in our world. And such an amazing thing to have been able to come out of that book. And the whole Neale Donald Walsch connection, it's just amazing, and everything that extra layer brings, and the connections that has created, and that real powerful statement that Kelly mentioned so often, the like-minded souls.
Yeah, that connection.
Huge,
mind-blowing, isn't it? It gives you goosebumps. And that's why I think this is so profound. It was meant to be. It kind of had to happen.
Yeah.
And what Danielle was saying, it was that listening to self, that core belief. Even when you wobble or waver, Kelly would say to me, "Is this going to happen?" I'm like, "Yes, yes." She just needed all the people around her to come together. So I think that amazing connection with her and Neale Donald Walsch, and listening to that inner voice that says, keep going, keep going, you can do this. That's why this book has come to be. As well as all the amazing co-creative people that have co-written this amazing book. So I'm just in awe of the whole process. I love it. You can't write this stuff.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Huge. And I think that being able to see that thread and that connection through the so many people that have actually collaborated in that book, and to really see that power that comes from all of those people collaborating together and sharing that space, it's what we talk about here so often. It's that coming together, it's that empowering each other, it's supporting each other and holding each other up. And it really shows how powerful that is, and what an amazing space that can be, and exactly what you're bringing to everybody who watches by the I Am Empowered movement.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Dan.
Okay, well, firstly, I want to thank everyone for listening, and I do hope that many of you your hearts, minds and souls will be touched by what you read in the Transformational Power of Near-Death Experiences. You'll be helping to support children in the world. As we stand, there's in excess of over 22,000 children dying every day due to poverty and starvation in the world. And I believe that we as a collective, like-minded souls, can do something about this. So just by buying our book, you're helping to support that. Every single penny in royalties is going to the Love Care Share Foundation, and that will be funding projects aimed at making a positive difference in children's lives around the world. And this is just the beginning. I'd love to invite you to come to look me up on my website. And we're now going to be moving on to the Power of Divine Love series, and we'll be looking for people around the world to share their stories on how they've been touched by the power of divine love. And again, that transcends culture, creed, religion. Come forth with your stories, and we'll continue to create world-changing books. And there's lots of other products and services in the pipeline, and every single one of them will be aimed at making a positive difference in the world and in children's lives. So thank you.
That's amazing. That just basically wraps it up in a nutshell, I believe. So I just wanted to share a quote with you from the amazing, talented and awe-inspiring Neale Donald Walsch, who has joined us in the book and supported Callie through this journey. I'm just going to read the quote that he wrote about this book because it sums everything up perfectly. So Neale Donald Walsch wrote, "We'll do more to release humanity from its fear of dying than any other recent book in memory." So I think that's pretty amazing that he has really taken it on as a project that he believes in, and I know that you're going to love it. And we had a wonderful time writing this book. So thank you everyone who has listened, and if you feel inspired, please buy this book. It comes out on the 16th of November and it is on pre-sale right now. You can get it at from Wilkinson's Publishing.
We'll make sure we put all the links below, so that we get them right. Amazon,
yep.
And we'll have the links to the foundation that Kelly talked about, and or her website details as well, so that you guys can go and make sure that you're following and aware of all the dates and when the book comes out, because it's definitely going to be life-changing.
It is. And every sale from the book, all the proceeds go straight to the Children's Foundation to help all the children around the world to have a positive impact for all the kids. That's why we wrote this book in the first place, for the kids. So get on board, support Callie and our journey, and I'm so grateful to talk to all of you today. Thank you for enjoying this episode in the I Am Empowered movement and the Fairy Garden, and we are excited to talk to you next month. Bye.
Hi, I'm Positivity Princess from planet Positavia, and I'm here to help the Earth against the forces of negativity and the grumpy old negheads. The more we love, the more we care, the more we share, and through positivity power, we'll save the world.